You should pretty much know by now that if I make a video for you in this room, that means it's pretty much urgent. And so I want you to do this thing before you go to sleep tonight. Literally tonight. As soon as you finish watching this video, go to sleep if it's nighttime and then do this exercise. Before I even tell you, understand, Habibi, that you have actually been robbed. You've literally been robbed. You understand that ever since you were young, you've had such a power deep within you to create things. But as you started to grow older, you started to forget that you have this power. As you started to grow older, you basically started to sin more. You started to watch pornography more. You started to go through even TikTok more. Just distraction after distraction. And then slowly, what started happening is that you started to become more of matter, more dense. You started forgetting that you even have this power within you, which is the power of your imagination. Now listen, this is not a SpongeBob saying that says that imagination is all you need to produce things that are real. But in reality, you know what? SpongeBob was actually right. You understand that this power of imagination that you have within you is the most powerful power that you have. This power of imagination, as soon as you activate it, you start to see the things that you imagine on the inside to happen on the outside. So much so that in my own life right now, I'm like, if I have something imagined in my brain, it's a done deal. It's literally a done deal. That means it's going to happen on the outside. It's like the Matrix. As soon as something happens on the inside, the Matrix, like the world, just starts changing, almost like it's like a hologram. It starts changing to match whatever you imagined in your mind. This happened way too many times in my life to the point now I'm like, this is the only thing that is real. The only thing that I know that is real in terms of creating. There's nothing else that you can do. So, for example, if I make a dua right now to Allah, if I keep making a dua, but then I'm not able to imagine the dua in my mind, I know that it's not going to happen. So what I do is that I literally make the dua to allow me, from Allah to allow me to imagine that thing. And then what happens is that almost always that thing becomes a reality. Do you understand why Allah says kun fayakun? It's not that on the outside Allah is saying kun fayakun. Allah's not saying be and it becomes on the outside. Habibi, like when I was young, I used to read that ayah and I was like, this makes no sense. Like how is Allah saying kun fayakun and then things are happening on the outside? Until recently I learned, I'm like, no, Habibi, the outside is just the effect of what's happening on the inside. So when Allah says kun fayakun, as soon as you imagine that thing. So as soon as you imagine it, then it became, that's it. As soon as it becomes in your mind, then that's it. Do you understand what I mean? So it's like if you just right now, if you imagine something, you imagine it vividly, like you're living through it, that means that thing is going to be happening regardless. So try this exercise. Try this exercise before you go to sleep right now. Before you go to sleep, try to imagine a certain thing. So for example, I was actually reading some Neville Goddard stuff, and the guy was talking about how you can imagine yourself going on top of a staircase, and then keep imagining saying that I am not going to go on a staircase, I am not going to go on a staircase, and then eventually what happens is that some stuff will happen in your life that will lead to you going on top of a staircase, which is so funny. So try this with anything. If you want to try this with like little things, even though I don't recommend that because it's so silly. Imagine you have this beautiful power that no animal has, no angel has, no mountains don't have it, sky doesn't have it, dogs don't have it, but you have, and then you're just like, let me imagine like a parking spot. That's what they say in the Law of Attraction book, in The Secret. Parking spot? Come on, man. So nowadays, you know, so beautiful. I even read this thing from Neville Goddard. He's like, if you just like imagining $1 million, there's no different than imagining $1. They're the same exact thing because all you need to do is just make the image pop in your head. And kun fayakun. As long as, like, you know, Habibi, if Allah's going to respond to your dua, when Allah plants an image in your head, I know if Allah plants an image in my head, I'm like, that dua is done. It's just done. I don't need to worry about how it's going to be done. It's just done. Now I just got to be excited. Where is it going to be coming from? So for you as well, when you make a dua, nowadays I literally make the dua of Allah, please plant the idea in my head, plant the image in my head, and that's it. That's all I need because I understood how the universe works. I understood how Allah runs the universe. And the way Allah runs the universe is through that. Like, listen. Imagine right now, you're in medicine, you're studying medicine, and you're understanding how to heal certain diseases, how to cure certain diseases. So you know that if you took a certain medicine, it's going to lead to some cascade events in your body where one cell is going to do this, and then that cell is going to do this, and then it keeps going to eventually it leads to you being healed. And if you're a farmer right now, you know that if you take a certain seed and you plant it, something is going to happen that is just going to start growing. Same thing here. Literally the same thing here. Like as a farmer, you know that if I just keep watering the seed, eventually it's going to grow. It has no choice but to grow. Same thing here. I'm saying it's the same thing here. So if you're in medicine, you know if you take a certain medicine, you're going to get healed. There's no way you won't be healed for certain diseases. So that means I'm telling you, it's the same thing here. So those of you that keep saying, this is shirk, I'm explaining to you the same thing as to what everybody else is studying. Like a farmer knows, he knows if I do this, this happens. Anywhere. Like if you're studying math or studying computer, you know that if you click a button, this will happen. You know it because you understood the rules. You understood the law. You don't sit there and be like, nah, that's shirk, because you're believing it's the button that's doing that. Stop being silly, bro. I'm telling you, this is how Allah is running the universe. All you need to do, just imagine something. Imagine it in your head. Once the image, you imagine it vividly, and you have the imagination within you vividly, then that's it. Consider it a done deal. It's a done deal. So you can do this with $1, or you can do this with $100 million. You can do this with a beautiful wife, or you can do it with anything, bro. Anything. And this is a beautiful power that we've been given. It's the power of imagination. Allah has given us this thing, so we get to choose within us. Within us, because the law states there's a cause and there's an effect. The cause is the inside. The effect is the outside. And the only reason, by the way, why you're feeling that this is hard for you to do is because you've been going through the world so many times, watching porn, drinking alcohol, listening to horrible music, scrolling mindlessly on TikTok, to the point that you forgot that you can do this. That's why I'm saying when you were a kid, you knew that you can do this. Like this wasn't something that was unusual to you. You knew that when you daydream, things happen. You didn't need to believe it. You just knew it just works. You didn't even need to question it to be like, if I do this, will that really happen? No, you just used to do it. As a kid, you just always used to do it. So what happened now that you grew up, you forgot that you can do it. You've always been able to do it. So again, there is no difference between anything. Stop thinking that one thing is gigantic and one thing is small. There is no difference. And by the way, when you're thinking that 100 million is like something that's super hard, once you start thinking that it's super hard, what are you doing in that moment? You're imagining something else. You're imagining the difficulty. So what are you going to be receiving in that moment? The difficulty. Kun fayakun. That's it. Do you understand what I mean? This is the most powerful thing I can tell you right now, because this is the most powerful thing that you can do right now. And again, if you're disbelieving in it, then that means you've been watching too much porn, bro. You've been sinning too much. And try it tonight, man. Before you go to sleep, just keep imagining the thing that you want. Keep doing it over and over again until you get the clear image. And you'll notice by yourself. You'll know that eventually it's just going to happen. So I'm telling you, there is no need for you to know any other things that are new. This is the only thing that you need to know. Everything else is just a distraction. That's all it is. This is the only thing that you need.